Deepak, your essay looks great. I did make some changes here, so take this with a grain of salt. Feel free to keep anything and everything that you like and use the other parts as suggestions. So first things first, what I did was I saw that there's a lot of dialogue in here and it's a little bit hard to read, so I tried to cluster some subjects together. The second thing is, as I mentioned yesterday, an adult will get interrupted about every 6 minutes, so don't expect them to be able to read a full paragraph before there's an interruption. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to read, go away, and then come back and just jump right back in. Alright, when we just jump right back in and they get the train of thought, we want to have what I call a trigger. A trigger is some kind of word or concept or something that kind of is repeated throughout the essay that ties the essay together. What I did is I rewrote this first paragraph based upon some information that was a little bit further down. So let's go ahead and get started here. A man with small round glasses studied math by candle. Okay? He fixed and repaired anything that was broken, whether the bicycle or radio, it didn't matter. In fact, he even fixed people's problems. That is, if you were okay discussing issues by candlelight. So you can see that this candle keeps reappearing. Candle by math, candle by, discussing by candlelight. This would suggest it's a long time ago, and this would suggest maybe candles are pretty inexpensive. So maybe he might have been poor. As we go further down here, it says photograph of a broken pair of glasses, some whispered history at dinner. That's everything about the man. The battle continues, the future, entire family he never met. Okay, so now you're tying in that this is probably some type of a relative. Each year, anniversary of his death, my family lights candles. Okay, once again, candlelight candles, and performs this. I gave a new definition that's a little easier to understand. What is this abhidikam? It's a Hindu ceremony to pay respect to my grandpa. So now you go, a man is grandpa, and we're putting candles up, and then he is doing candle stuff as well. Candles are reappearing. Okay, as a child, he never understood the room felt heavy and dark. Why is it dark? Because you probably lit candles. Okay, so it's a reoccurring theme here. I made it a little bit more specific here. It says the thick air and his name I barely knew. Okay, his name is your grandfather and so forth. All right, your grandfather got a seat at a good college in the USA. My dad said for those blah blah blah. He couldn't go. He didn't have the money for electricity back then. So how did he study? He studied by candlelight. See how this is kind of reappearing all the way through candle, candle, candle. All right. He paved the way for us to continue his dream. All right, and we come down over here. He is a man, humble man, ends meet, little funds endeavored. He lived meagerly, died with tuberculosis in his 20s because he couldn't afford to see a doctor. He never complained. Grandpa just simply worked hard. He worked by the light of candles. All right, so you see how we keep tying this in together. So there's a reoccurring theme that candles are illuminating. Okay, and the candles are being illuminated because he probably didn't have a ton of money. All right, as we continue down over here, it says, as a child, the story seemed like history. Now we have blah, blah, blah. And then I come back over here. It says, I try to work with lights dim low, sometimes by the light of a small light, not to bring attention to my room. Probably want to rework that, but basically what I'm trying to do is you're staying up late. The concept here is I'm staying up late, so I have maybe a small flashlight or a small desk lamp because my parents want me to go to bed so I can get up and be strong. But for me, I want to do like my grandpa. I want to endure a little bit and have the lights dim. So this dim light that you have on your table is kind of tying you back into relating to your grandpa. Hey, my grandpa didn't have a lot of money, but he still was pretty hardcore in his approach. He studied by candles even though he didn't have enough money for electricity. And now you're kind of relating yourself back to that concept. Once again, illumination and perseverance. We come down back over here, and the question becomes real for me when I go to the Hindu temple. And we tied that back in, the illumination here, and just changed this. Once again, if it didn't really happen, this essay is not asking you for a fact by fact thing. We're using this as an analogy, so don't feel like you're lying. It says, sometimes an elder person could barely read the fine print, so I had the idea of bringing a small flashlight to help illuminate the papers. You see how an older person, when you're illuminating the papers, it might be more relatable. It's a mini miracle. The torch, which is a synonym for flashlight, which is a synonym here for your candle. The torch reminded the older people of a candle that they were able to read the full text. So here we got the candle back again. So the torch mini flashlight is another representation for the light on your table that's illuminating, which is basically the candle. Okay. It was during these small moments of the quiet that I and my 20th century candle, which is a flashlight, we call a flashlight, can realize blah 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 blah, the diagnostic into medicine. So now we're talking about the hard work, perseverance of a candle, which is a flashlight, which is a small desk on your lamp, is illuminating, and then this helped you illuminate diagnostics about going into medicine. So perseverance from your grandpa with candles, studying by candlelight. Now you got your analogy with a dim light. Now you got a flashlight. And then you come back over here and take a look at the next paragraph. We're just basically, in a nutshell, trying to take every example that you have and illustrate some kind of hard work and realization that something was illuminated through a candle, which reminds you of your grandpa. Because your essay is basically saying, hey, without grandpa paving the way, our family probably wouldn't be here in the United States. And I want to make sure that, I don't get too comfortable with, I live close to everything, a nice area of Plymouth, and my mom and dad have like a nice house and a nice car and all that. So don't forget the path. The path is to endure and illuminate. And so that's kind of the theme I saw your essay when I read it. All right. Then it says, outside this experience, the grandfather used it endeavor. Now I mentor students using ACT, reformulating questions, blah, blah, blah. Because clarity, and once again, clarity comes from that candle. It can absolutely change the way someone sees themselves. My candle sheds light. So you see how your candle is basically the thing you learn from your grandpa. It's endure. No matter what you have, you just kind of push through. So all of your examples are kind of using this candle. If a professor has to take a break because there's a phone call or a knock on the door, they already know, starting way back up here, you got a man studying by candlelight. Candlelight, it's dark. Why? Because you're studying by candlelight, the light of candles. And then now you talk about a small desk lamp or something like that, which is an analogy for a small candle. A flashlight, a torch, candle, all of that is basically illuminating to be able to see things a little bit more clear. So as you persist throughout the rest of your essay, I just kind of stop here. I would look and see, is there a way you can illustrate, some kind of illumination here? And you don't necessarily have to say flashlight or candle. You could say a small desk lamp to illuminate or light the path or something like that. And then down over here, this is the one that's really big. So this is your conclusion. Usually what I do when I have the kids write the essay is I come all the way back up here and I take this paragraph and I just copy and paste this. A man with small glasses studied by candlelight, and then you just rewrite that here at the top, and then you'd say something about how you have learned to do the same thing and the path was illuminated from your grandpa, and you're just basically taking over where your grandpa left. As far as what it says here, you could still incorporate that in there, but this technique is called the sandwich technique. If you just take this and repeat it and then you put a twist on it, and now you could say, a young man with small glasses studies by candlelight, or a small desk lamp he fixes and repairs, blah blah blah. And this could be, instead of, a young man now is, instead of an old man, it's you. So you end by basically taking the place of your grandpa and continuing the path as we move forward. All right, that would kind of tie everything together. Anyways, hope this wasn't too long. Your essay looks great, and I hope you don't mind me simply rewriting a lot of things here. I like your essay, and once again, good job. If you've got questions, just talk to me in person. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.